Welcome to the Birmingham City Happy Clappers podcast, where you'll usually find us sitting on the fence, discussing the incredible tactical awareness of the manager. And if you say a bad word against his managerial style, you'll be hanged from Bawdsley Station. Wait, no, I think that's wrong. Hold on. Just give me 1 second. Hold on. This is Lawlor's Law, your raw, unfiltered, and unapologetically opinionated Birmingham City podcast by the fans, for the fans, no holes barred, and zero bullshit. Well, that's me told. Roll titles. Welcome back, everybody, to Lawlor's Law. As I have mentioned, your raw, unfiltered, and unapologetically opinionated Birmingham City podcast. We are back this week, and I am joined by two fine, very fine gentlemen. The first has his name above the door, Mr. Lawlor. So I'll pass over. Jamie, how are we doing?
Good, mate. Yeah, football not great. Obviously, it's been painful again, and we're going to talk about it. But life, yeah, it's all right. I'm on a week off at the minute, so life is good. House is up for sale. People are coming around to view it. Busy, busy, busy.
Lovely to hear. And I'm jealous of that week off you've got. Very jealous. And we've got a special guest this evening, all the way from Born to Be Blues, representing himself now. It's our good friend, Josh Fitzpatrick. Josh, how you doing, mate?
Not too bad, mate. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. I'm very well. Good to have you on, man. Good to have you on.
Appreciate being asked to come on, guys. It should be fun.
He's a celebrity this week for us all, so we need to make him feel welcome, Jamie.
We'll do that. We'll do that. He knows the tribe and the bullshit that's about to come in this next hour, so I'm sure he'll be willing to dive in on it.
I'm sure my opinions aren't going to be liked by some people, but who gives a fuck?
That's what we're here for.
That's what we're
Exactly.
here for. Yeah. Okay, so we just briefly spoke before we started recording that it's 12 months to the day since we got promoted at Peterborough. I was there. I'm not sure if you boys were there as well.
No.
No, Jamie, I think I had your tickets.
Well,
didn't
yes, you managed to snipe. I bought tickets and then couldn't go, so you used my tickets basically.
Yeah, and I'll be forever grateful, mate, because it was
Oh, mate.
it was an amazing evening. But yeah, 12 months to the day that we got promoted, and I think we're all sat here and all the fans watching us now. And welcome back to you all. Lovely to have you back. Everybody is watching, and we're all questioning what has gone wrong and what has changed in those 12 months. In the previous podcast that we have done, we've asked a lot of these questions, and I'm sure that some of the similar questions will come back up again tonight. But if we can just jump back quickly before we really dive into it, and we can jump back to Blackburn. We haven't recorded since before Blackburn, so we need to just jump back to that. Jamie, if I could just hand over to you to give us a really brief overview of Blackburn. It was another 1-0 loss. It was at home, so that fortress narrative has been dented again. But yeah, I'll chuck it over to you to kind of walk us through it just quickly and briefly, because we don't want to keep going over the losses, from long ago. But if I can throw over to you and you can take us through it, mate.
It was the equivalent of watching an old man with no teeth try and eat a steak, is basically the way I can put it. It was toothless. There was no input to it. We just did nothing, and we deserved that loss because if it weren't for our Beadle, who we're going to give some praise to today, could have been fucking 4 or 5. Like, me and Josh sat together that game, and that double save was right in front of us at the Tilton. And you know what? We said it 10, 20 minutes, Josh, before it happened, saying they're going to fucking score, and they deserve to if they score.
Yeah.
We offered fuck all. We did nothing again, and we got what we deserved. And the home fortress narrative is fucking gone. It was gone before the loss to Borough. It was gone before the loss to Blackburn. It was, as we've said many times, the consistent 1-1s, 2-2s, the inability to put teams to bed, the inability to fucking score on Saturday, like on Friday, sorry, they were for the taking. They're meandering at the bottom, not knowing what day of the week it is, and we look like the away team for 80 minutes again. Like
Hmm.
fucking shit. Like
Mm.
if you want me to sum it up really quickly, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, not good again, was it? And you said you were sat with Josh. Josh, what were your opinions on it? How did you see the game?
Uh, it was one of those games where, like Jay said, there was just nothing there. Like Osman hitting the post from, was it 4 yards out, is like
Hmm.
the biggest talking point of the game, and you sit there going like, if that's all we're mustering up in the game is Osman just repeatedly hitting the post, it's not good sighting for us. Like you quickly pointing back to like old school days where you'd have two or three strikers in the team that score and your midfield's get involved. We don't seem to have a player that wants to shoot. And the amount of times the fans are screaming just to shoot. And it got to a point, I think it was like 80th minute, and the fans are singing, "We've had a shot." And like, you're at home. At away games, you're a bit drunk, you're having a laugh. You kind of expect those situations, but we should not be taking the piss and singing, "We've had a shot" in the 80th minute in a home game when they are trying to have St Andrews as this fortress. That's gone. The only way you're going to do it is if you kind of restart and rebuild it, and you've got to try and push it forward. But um, I think they fully deserved the goal. Jay said, we called it probably about 10 minutes before they scored. Like they're going to score here because they just countered really easily.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't think we deserved anything from it. It was a shocking game to watch, and I was there when we lost 8-0 to Bournemouth, and I think that Blackburn game we played worse.
Wow. I think it was all from my point of view, it was all the same story all the way through this last kind of 4 or 5 months, just seeping into the home form now. We'd had quite a lot of draws, hadn't we? 1-1 draws, 0-0 draws. But finally, it was the straw that broke the camel's back, I think, with that 1-0 loss to Blackburn at home, because we haven't lost at home since Hull. No,
Borough.
Borough, sorry. Borough 3-1. And obviously that I think with that one, Borough were in a fine vein of form when we played them. So I know we didn't really apply ourselves very well against Borough, but it wasn't crazy to lose that game, is what I'm trying to say. It wasn't horrendous that we lost that game. We could have played a lot better, but I think Blackburn being where they are, like you both said, it was one of the biggest embarrassments at home this year, maybe apart from the Sheffield Wednesday draw. I think it was probably the most embarrassing. What do you think about that,
The
Josh?
only thing I'm going to say is you sit there and you talk about the Middlesbrough game, and you sit there going, "Oh, they're in a fine vein of form," but what form were Coventry in before they come to us? And we dominated that game. We've
Hmm.
had other teams come to us this season that have been in very good form. Southampton picked up their form when they come to us. We made them look second best on at home. Look at the season we went down. Sunderland pushing and pushing and pushing for playoffs. We beat them at home. We went on a good run at home. And then last season, the thing that you've lost at home is we go 1-0 down, and last season we were like, yeah, we'll come back and win this 2-1. Don't worry about it. Now we go 1-0 down in like the 15, 20th minute, and we're like, oh, this could be like 3-4-0 here. And you've completely lost that whole fearless side of it of, oh, we'll come back and win this, because even the fans know it's just not going to happen anymore.
Mm. Yeah. So it's a very strange comparison to make, but obviously when Manchester United had all them years, didn't they, where they were just winning everything, and eventually it's got to the point where teams weren't scared to go to Old Trafford to play football, and it's a very crazy analogy, and it's nowhere they're nowhere near, the two teams aren't similar in that way because we're far apart, but I do think that even any sort of home form that we did hang on to, and that narrative of a fortress, it was just obliterated against Blackburn, wasn't it? It was absolutely obliterated. So that's gone now. So anybody else that comes to us for the rest of the season, whether it's because Bristol City are come in, Preston are come in, but Bristol City under Roy Hodgson are starting to tick, so they won't be scared of coming to us. And I think Preston are the only other team with the worst form in the last 10 games than Birmingham, apart from obviously Sheffield Wednesday at the very bottom. But that's crazy, isn't it? We're third bottom for the last 10 games form. So that shows you a lot. And
Um,
Preston are second bottom. So that's going to be a horrible game. We play
I
Preston at
think
home.
Sunday is going to be horrible because
Mm,
the Wagner and
Wrexham.
Brady, obviously being American, they have the big thing with Wrexham of we've got to beat them because they're the other team in our division, American owners doing the same thing. And
mhm.
honestly, I think we lose 3-4 nil. I can't see Wrexham coming to us and not playing their best, knowing the type of game it is. And I said it to Jay the other day, we haven't lost to Wrexham in the
Mhm.
2 seasons we've played from. We've had 2 draws and a win, but we haven't lost to them. So they're going to be even more for it of let's have our first time we beat Blues, let's make it at their ground and cement the fact that we're going to want top six. And I
Yeah.
think Sunday's going to be a very horrible game to watch.
Yeah, it could be it could be a tasty one, and we'll definitely come onto it in a bit, and we'll get Jamie's thoughts as well. But I'm more than inclined to probably agree with you that it's not going to be a great day, but we'll come on to it. Ipswich on Monday away, the game that was plastered all over social media, the game that was all over Sky Sports Football and TikTok for a crazy decision by the officials, which we've said before this season. But we had a 2 day gap. We had Saturday, Sunday, and then we go and lose again on Easter Monday. So it hasn't been a great Easter for us, has it? And it wasn't a great Christmas for us either. So any sort of festivities that you have throughout the year, these periods are just absolutely rubbish for us. So we can't seem to celebrate anything, or we all celebrate something and Blues ruin it with the football. Jamie, what did you think of Ipswich on Monday?
Think the I wrote it in our chat, and I think everyone saw it, and people might have thought I was being sarcastic, but we lost, but I was accepting of that loss because we played better. It's almost as if you start the January signings who are better footballers and you fucking play better. You start August Prisk and go, you know what? What if we play the ball a little bit longer and let him flick it on? Oh, it causes damage.
Mhm.
Fucking the only thing I did pick up from Monday as well was there's three things in life that are certain with Chris Davies. It's death, taxes, and Pate Sung fucking Ho in the 11. Because yet again, he wasn't great. And I'm sick of saying it. And I know it's a Pate bashing service from me at the minute. But I can't. He passed it out of play at least, I'd say 6 to 7 times in the first half needlessly. And I'm like, please. Like, it's not even the fact that I don't think he's a good footballer, because I do think he is, but he's been on international duty away with South Korea. And then you start him 2 games in a row within 3 days. Like, it's
Mhm.
just at this point, I'm questioning the man management of Mr. 4-2-3-1 dynamic, no moving wingers fucking tactic boy who doesn't seem to understand the concept that players get tired. Like, moving on from that, really good performance. Second half, fantastic. Vincente's goal, great finish, good counter attacking. And I thought Stansfield was probably one of our best players on the pitch that day. And everyone's been slating him for ages, but every time he got the ball, Ipswich wanted none of it. He pressed them, he looked aggressive because you started someone up front with him who has
Mhm.
a bit of pace and can press. We love Marvin Ducks, but he's not that guy. Like, so everything
Right.
worked a bit better on Monday. The only thing I would say is do not extend Panzo, and I don't care if we have to pay someone, get rid of Brighter Samuel for the love of God, because for both goals, I'm blaming both of them. Beadle can do nothing about them. Like he did well with the save that led to the first goal, but
Mhm.
I could singularly pick out people who pissed me off on Monday, but I think the
Yeah.
writing's on the wall. The season's dead. And it looked a little bit like the players know the season's dead. So second half they went, you know what, fuck it, go for it, lads, and see what happens. Well, we
Mm.
denied a goal. Yeah, we were. But it's football, and we still had another 20 minutes after that when we were battering them backs to the wall. Like you can't, like, football's a game of moments, but you've got to have more than one against a
Mm.
team like Ipswich. Like they're a reason why they're up there. They wanted revenge for the 1-1 on the first day of the season. And
Mm.
am I going to be bitter and say that the officials have given Ipswich Town 3 points against us this season? Yeah, but it is what it is. Even with them 3 points, we're still nowhere near fucking playoffs, are we? So no one to blame but ourselves.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I agree with a lot of that. I think the Stano and Prisk kind of duo that they've landed on, or he's landed on, seems to work quite well, and it could be a duo that we see for the rest of the season. I really did quite like that. Um, Paik, anybody watching this again, my feelings about Paik Sung Ho. Lots of people protect him, and I'm just not having it. And I've stated that BOS, Bright Side Samuel, stands for bag of shit because I've never rated him either. I think he's just a journeyman that, is looking for a next club as soon as he gets to his next one. I just don't think he's bothered. He doesn't play for the shirt, and his international team and fans don't think much of him either. It's just not a good fit for us. And with Laird being injured for so long this season and getting rid of Samstead, and that's played into his hands to be able to feature and play. But he's not done it for me. He runs quite quickly when he's not got the ball, and he manages to chase back and slide in and make a tackle. But apart from that, when he's on the ball, it looks like he's running in treacle. So I've never rated him, and I'll state it again. Panzo, I think the 6 month contract was a good idea because we've finally been able to see what he's about. I think also he may be a bit of a journeyman as well. But against Leeds, I actually thought he looked quite good. I don't know if you agree with that, but I thought against Leeds he looked quite good. But the thing with Leeds is that the first half, Leeds didn't really do a lot and they didn't come on to us a lot. So he had it quite comfortable at the back with Clara, where he could just spray balls out to the left. And obviously Clara was spraying balls out to the right. He also had Wagner on his left-hand side against Leeds, who probably made him look like a better defender. Whereas, when you've got on Ipswich game, when you've got who's starting there and Panzo's your left back and he is the left back, it's like, you've got no one there to protect you to make you look any better, mate. So we need Wagner back. I think that Wagner and Laird should be our starting fullbacks next season. And if we get that duo, which I think we've only seen once in a substitution appearance because of Laird's injury and then Wagner's subsequent injury, if we can get those two starting fullbacks, I think the defence will look a lot better. I think we said it, Jay, didn't we, that you'd probably make Jack Robinson the fourth choice centre back and get a third choice in because. And, Josh will agree with this as well because he's seen it and we've spoken about it, that Neumann and Clara statistically are the best centre-back pairing for Birmingham. They've conceded the least amount of goals. So I think you have to make it work. The rumour thing of them falling out was a load of rubbish. Obviously, they're fine with each other, but they need to somehow make it work. I know it puts us off balance, and I have called for that imbalance to be changed before. But if the statistics are there and it says they're the best centre-back pairing, then you've got to play it. Josh, what did you think of Ipswich, mate?
You've said it all, really. Like you come out 2 days after probably one of we say it all the time when we lose one of our most embarrassing games, but one of our most embarrassing home games of the season. You've had the reaction the crowd have had from it. The players have got to look at it and go, Monday we need to do something. 2 days later, we make 7 changes, and we come out and give a performance like that. And you sit there and you go, there's times in that game where you say, "What? How are Ipswich third, second, fourth, wherever they are? How are they in that top 4 category?" Because we made them look really silly. But then you see that dynamic of they just quickly change like that, and our defence is lost on it. And when you sit there and you talk about bringing Laird and Wagner back in, they're both fast. They're both bomb forward, but they both know what they're capable of getting back. Bright Asai Samuel, for me, he runs back to defend, and 9 times out of 10, he just runs past the ball because he's like, I've got a spot to be in. And he's sitting there like, just make a tackle, like, come at the player rather than just running past him. I said to Jay the other day, we had like a good 45-minute conversation about how our team needs to be for next season. I think personally, if the rumours that I've seen are true, a Beadle for like 4 or 5 million, I'd be getting him because I think any other manager, you get a lot better goalkeeper there. Carsley got a great goalkeeper out of him for the Euros. I think there's a lot of potential with him. He's shown the last few games what he's capable of and what he can do. We even said it at Blackburn. His passing was incredible. It wasn't wayward or out of play or anything. It was where it needed to be. I think you go with him. I think you look at a back three. And like you said, Robinson is your 4th centre-back. But you potentially look at Clara in the middle, Neumann on the right. You bring in a left centre-back. You have Wagner and Laird, and you play a 3-4-3. You have them 2 holding midfielders. Obviously, I believe after the Ipswich game, John Solis starting means we now have the obligation to buy. So he comes in, you build the midfield around him. If that does mean Davies's love child stays in on the right-hand side, or Davies's other love child comes in on the right-hand side, or we get someone new. Someone's going to be there. I think you build it around John Solis. And then I said to Jay the other day, I said, you've got 2 wingers then that aren't playing like this. You play them cutting in, so they're kind of running in at the striker. So if you've got Stansfield and Vicente, in kind of cam rolls running in at Prisk's here, that's going to be a
Mhm.
lot more threatening than what it is when we've got our wingers at the moment who just run to corners. And it's like we haven't got the style of play to play the ball into the box. We haven't got
Mhm.
a Djukovic that will throw his body in front of everything to make sure that ball ends up somewhere in the goal. We haven't got the people like Shea Adams that people keep crying out, that's strong and powerful up front, but fast and quick. Even Lyndon Dykes, when he come on, he threw himself around. Dux
Mhm.
ain't going to do that. He's too lazy. He reminds me of Duke, but the old side of Duke. Of he runs
Mhm.
really slow and he presses, and you sit there going, he's never getting that. He's just done it to make it quicker. Prisk,
Mhm.
I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen enough out of him yet to kind of judge him properly. Obviously, I've seen all the videos online and what he did with Denmark under 21s the other week and the 10 minutes he scored, but I haven't seen enough of him at Blues to be able to go, that's what you need to do. But if you've got that cam roll where you could play Gray and Vicente, or Gray and Osman, Vicente, you could even put Kyogo and Stansfield there, who are just
Mhm.
going to close down on run. That's going to give you a lot better dynamic attacking. But I think next season, whoever is in charge, obviously, I know you want to come to it a bit later, whether it's Davis or Deitch or Sam Allardyce, as Jay keeps calling for, um, whoever's in charge, realistically, you need to be looking at maybe John Solis, Clara, Neumann, and your goalkeeper, and that's who you're building your team around. And you're going, right, let's build our fullbacks out here. We want this kind of start, let's get that. We want this in
Mhm.
midfield, let's get that. Attacking wise, let's have a look at what we've got. Okay, you suit, you don't, out you go, and get rid of that space and actually build a team around the style of play, not the man that apparently cost £20 million.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, he was probably our best player against Ipswich,
Mhm.
but I haven't seen this season £20 million worth of player, if I'm honest. Um, Probably £2 million worth of player at best.
Yeah, yeah. He's had a rough ride this year, hasn't he? And I think the way he sat down in the chair when he got subbed off against Blackburn it said a lot, didn't it? It showed you how he's
Yeah,
feeling. You had Brad Mayo sat behind him, and you could see on Tommy's vlog, our friend Tommy's vlog, that Brad Mayo was sat behind him and kind of consoled him straight away when he sat down. He slumped in the chair. His confidence is absolutely gone, hasn't it, Jay? And he can see and hear all this on social media, and he is really in his own head at the moment. And I think was it the Blackburn game as well where he was arguing with a fan in the Tilton after we were screaming for him to shoot, and he was like, "How do I shoot there? How am I meant to shoot there?" So he's even getting it amongst it with the fans, and it's not really what we want to see. He's fiery, but I do think he's lost a lot of that fire, Jay, in the last couple of months. You know, I always thought he was a walking red card, Jay Stansfield, and he sat behind me on my shelf here, but I absolutely love him. But I did think he was a bit of a hothead at the end of last season and the start of this one. And he does seem to, it's like that fire in his belly has gone a little bit because I just think he's lost his own belief. So he just, like you said, he needs a manager that's going to get him ticking and get him in the right position. And when you watch Jay Stansfield in the number 9 role and he's playing off that last defender on his shoulder, just like the winner against Leicester when he's put through by Ducks, I think, and he whacks it into the corner. That's his bread and butter. That's what he's good at. But he's been thrown around in a load of different roles this year. I think that's one of the biggest problems that we haven't. Not a lot of people have spoken about this year is the amount that the squad, the starting 11, has changed. It's consistently changed. I think the best teams, your Cities, a lot of your Liverpools and Arsenals, yes, they can rotate in the cups and things like that. But when they have all their fully fit squad, you know what Arsenal's kind of starting 11 is going to be if they've got everybody available. And I just think that the team has been so mismatched this year with injuries, yes, but Davis you just don't know what 11 you're going to get at all every week. It's just mismatched, and that kind of cohesion but in the team is not there, is it? There's nobody you're playing with bloke A one week, and then next week, 2 days later, you're playing with somebody else, and you think, well, I just started to build a relationship with him, and then now he's been taken out of the team. So it's one of them. I just think that really not really no starting 11 we've had this season. I think we've really struggled with it. But that kind of goes into the final games that we've got. We've got 5 games left. So based on all what we've said and what we've spoken about, what do you both think? I'll start with you, Jamie. What do you think almost is the purpose of these 5 games. What do we need to show? What does Davies need to show? What do we need to do? How does that game on Sunday need to go? How do they need to approach it? And do they just kind of do another 5 Ipswich performances, which is to kind of at least have a go? Because I think we should every game. What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, I was excited. Just get me excited watching a game. For fuck's sake, just have a shot. Show me what's coming next season. Show me the players that are still going to be there, what they're going to bring. Show me some flair. Show me a bit of fun. You know what? Our 3 remaining home games, Wrexham could be a problem. Preston, dog shit. Bristol, they've had a season like us. They've just kind of gone from playoffs and now they're just meandering with Roy Hodgson.
Mm.
Like, there's no real feel to it unless you just kind of just go for it at this point. And I just want to see what's going to come next season. Build some more partnerships. Give me some more of Prisk and Stansfield. Show me what that builds in 5 games. I'm going to go back to the point you just said, Max, about the best teams start the same 11. We finished 9th in the Premier League under that season with McLeish. And if memory serves, we played the same 11, 15 games on a trot when we
Mm-hmm.
went on that massive run in the Prem. If I remember
Mm-hmm.
rightly, it was Joe Hart, Stephen Carr, Scott Dan, Roger Johnson, Ridgewell, Seb
That's right.
Larson, Bowyer, Ferguson, McFadden, into Chucho Benitez and Cameron Drone.
Yeah.
And you played
Spot
them
on.
consistently because you knew
Knowledge.
how they worked. Prisk is going to get a partnership with Stansfield as much as Stan is going to get that partnership with Prisk because they play together. They're going to learn how it works. We've all said for weeks when Prisk is on the pitch, he wins headers. So you need someone running about him, which is why I find it inconceivable when he keeps starting Prisk and Ducks. So I'm like, who's he flicking it onto? Because Ducks, I
Mm-hmm.
love Ducks, but he ain't got the pace. Stop
Yeah.
it. Ducks ain't going to win header. Like,
Yeah.
so what I want to see in
Going
the
on
next
what
5 games is just partnerships and new things.
going
Mm-hmm.
on what you just said there, Jay, where you say obviously the consistency of teams. Look at last season. I think it was end of October until we lost in December. We made one change in, I think it was some like 15 games, 18 games. We had continuity of the same team playing, getting to know each other, building that relationship and building that connection with each other. And then he made that one change and we went and lost the game to I think it was Shrewsbury we lost it to. And you sit there and you go, where's that gone from last season? And I'll throw controversial points out there. I realistically, and I said this to Jay the other day, I think if Wayne Rooney was in charge of this Birmingham City team right now, we'd either be top 2 or in the playoffs.
Wow.
Because look at the big things that happened with Rooney. Don't get me wrong, Rooney didn't have the management side of it, but his man management is apparently good. If the Keshi Anderson interview is correct, Davies is probably the worst at it. We had Ashley Cole as our defensive coaching. We had Mike Taylor as goalkeeper. Tom Huddleston come in as midfield, and then we had someone else that was like helping with an attacking coach. You've also got a manager there who is his country, well, was his country, and his club's all-time top goal scorer. He knows how to get confidence in a striker. So people like Jay Stansfield, who had 2 or 3 games where his confidence gone, he knows how to get him out of that rut and be like, do this. But I think he could have changed his team massively, and I know Jay said it to me. Probably won't admit it, but he did. That if Wayne Rooney was given that transfer window, I think he kept us up that season. I think if you give him the players we've got now, on paper, should have walked this league, I think we would be in playoffs.
Wow. That's gonna, and you can at
I
Josh
think
in the comment if you want to after that. Yeah, I'm sure he'll reply
I
to you
I
when
think
this goes live.
it
Gonna mute
it comes down to
it.
the age thing. We've said consistently though, and we've spoke about this for the last few months, Max.
Hmm.
On paper, our team is a top 2 team in this fucking league.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it is. I think the quality and the individual quality is there, but it's you've not got the cohesion. So you've, like I just said, you've not got the cohesion of a starting 11 or a basic starting 11 because it is changed so much that it's not there. You've got a manager that's cutting a very lonely figure at the moment, walking around that stadium after we lose again, and we could lose again on Sunday, and he's still clapping the fans. He's still keeping his job. I don't know whether Wagner being poorly is feeding into that, and Knighthead are just leaving it until the end of the season. But his managerial kind of ineptness that he keeps showing us has come to the fore now, hasn't it? So it probably was lingering, and it was subdued in League One, and we didn't really see it as much because we just kept, winning games by being overly physical, and teams, we just killed teams off because they couldn't hack us in the last 20 minutes. But this year it's coming to the fore, and as the seasons progress, we've got some good results like Coventry, like Josh said, and we went on a few runs where it was 4-0, 4-0, 4-1, whatever it was. They were good games, but you're really starting to see now how he is struggling and how the team are struggling. And I think the lack of managerial awareness, the lack of making the correct substitutions, the lack of in-game management, which, let me point out, McKenna had for Ipswich in that game, because he went 1-0 down and he changed it, and they scored 2 in 4 minutes. So it just shows you when a manager understands how to manage a team and change it in game because they go 1-0 down. He doesn't have that. He doesn't possess that. He's really lacking in that understanding. So I personally don't think that Davies, has it in him to improve. He's had 2 years, and we're not really seeing much more from him after 2 years. So if, regardless of what you've both said in terms of how we do in these last 5 games, we could finish kind of 13th or 12th. We could finish 18th or 19th. It doesn't really matter, does it? Because if it's not playoffs or it's not trying to stay up and battle relegation, you're just in the mire, really, aren't you? Just in the middle. You're not playing for anything. It's just a bit boring, to be honest. What I will say is I agree with you, Jamie, that we need to give really good, strong performances the last 5 and just give something back to the fans that have spent all that money, that have travelled up and down the country, going away from home, and it's been so turgid and so unacceptable. You need to give them something both home and away in the last 5 games, and just leave them with a smile on their face, even if it is that Portsmouth game on the last day, and you go and win by a couple of goals to nil, and you just give a really good performance. We then go into the summer with the World Cup, and we go into our pre-season eventually with a smile on our face rather than being completely miserable. But I don't think that Davies will last. There's murmurs online saying that people have spoken with Knighthead, and regardless of what fans are saying, he might still keep his job, and he might be given the first 10 games of next season. I would really despise that, to be honest. If that happens, I really would fall apart. I think my head would fall off if that happened. But there are murmurs that it could happen. So, Jamie, what do you think the future holds for Chris Davies? And is there a kind of a world where he might keep his job?
He fucking better not. Like, I'm sorry, and this isn't like he better not. And listen, I'm not on no happy clappy Birmingham City page now. My podcast, my fucking rules. I don't want him. I don't like him, and I'm gonna say I don't like him. I'm not gonna kick myself out of a chat for disagreeing with people on it. But listen, I don't rate him. I don't think I like him as a person, but I don't think he's the guy to lead us to the next segment of where we want to be. He's not following the action plan. The plan is to be in the Premier League. The plan is to have a 60,000 fucking seater stadium with Premier League football. Otherwise, we're going to be Tottenham Part 2, and it's going to look stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great idea, good, and I thank him for League One. And I thank you that you stabilised us with a ridiculously expensive team where you should be winning games in the Championship. But if you can take your lessons that you've learned from this club and move into another team, all power to you. But I'm sorry, and I like the guy, but he's not fucking man for me anymore, and he needs to go. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm. So, Josh, do you think there is a world where he keeps his job? Because I'm starting to get the fact they haven't sacked him, and the fact that they persist with him after all these bad results and these bad performances, maybe minus Ipswich, but in the main, the game against Blackburn was so unacceptable. I mean, I'd have sacked him weeks ago if I was in charge. But and that's what worries me, is that they stick him by him. Now, is it, Josh, because they're just waiting to the end of the season, or should we all be maybe a little bit more worried, apart from a select few of happy clappers, that he might actually stay in charge? What do you reckon, Josh?
Um, I think it's a bit of everything. I don't think he'll be in charge again next season, beginning next season. The one thing I do think maybe was given at the beginning of the season of our owners aren't shy of saying they want the Premier League, they want promotion, they want this. If perhaps they said to Davies at the beginning of the season, our first season of the Championship, go and do the best you can. We do expect top 10, at least. That's the bare minimum. So maybe that's why they're holding off, because look at the table. We're, 5 points off ninth, 4 points off 10th, something like that. So if they said to him, we want top 10, and we go and get top 10, he's successfully done what they've wanted. Maybe that's the only way he gets next season. They then throw a lot more money at him and go and get the players that you want that are going to push you up. Realistically, I don't think us finishing the top 10 is going to happen. I think unless we go and Ipswich the last 5 games, like you said, and win majority of them, I think the teams above us that are in them, the top 6 and then the 6 to 10 place, I think they're just too good at the moment for us to rely on them losing results. And maybe it's a situation where they've gone to Davies, we'll give you the end of the season on the basis of we mutually end the contract, we'll cut the cost of how much it's going to cost us to get rid of you, you get this much instead, but we'll give you the full season. You can't, trying to play devil's advocate, you can't judge him on as a Championship manager without giving him at least one full season as a Championship manager.
Yeah.
We took what all of our fan bases and social media, pundits, bookies, everything was like, Birmingham City have to be top 6, have to be top 2, they're going up. And let's be honest, it blew smoke up all our asses. We were like, yep, sound, we're expecting this. You can't judge a guy on his season, his first ever season in that league, if he still gives us the best finish we've ever had for however many, 10 years or something like that. If we go now and finish 12th or 13th, people can sit there like, oh, okay, that's where I expect this to begin. And then we went and brought 10 players that were the quality they were. So I think there's a devil advocate of giving him to the end of the season of let's just see how he does. That might help us get rid of him. If that's silly as it sounds, you might find another club like, oh, actually, we just want to survive the Championship next season. Let's bring Chris Davies in from Birmingham because he's going to be able to do that with us. Where we're needing that manager like a Parker, a Deitch, or those kind of managers that have got the experience going up. I think that's what we need. We need for next season is that manager that's going to push us. Where I think Davies could be a very good fit for someone like West Brom or someone like Blackburn who are down there, Charlton who are down there. I don't know, Oxford, Portsmouth in that close region. I think he'd be a really good manager for those because he would have the philosophy to keep them up. They'd get results when they need them, and they're not expecting massives. I just don't think he's handled the pressure of what Birmingham City were expected this season well. I think that's the downfall.
Yeah, some really good
I
points.
would like to interject. Can I interject one quick point to this Davies thing? I would like you to find me any other manager in the world that can be 1-0 down at home to Blackburn and take Stansfield off, bring Brighter Side Samuel on, then move fucking Christoph Klar up front. Leave it there.
Gianfranco Zola.
He took Stansfield off and put Christoph Klar up front. That was his mastermind move to try and get a point out of Blackburn at home.
Didn't Man City take off their goalkeeper and put David James up front, though? Are we just forgetting about that kind of history that Man City put their goalkeeper up front whilst he was on the pitch? Davies probably had something to do with that.
Well, Man City winning.
I think we need to quickly talk about, because it's some good points that Josh makes in terms of you have to give him a season, and it's kind of only fair that you do that. But I think what is happening is the fan base, if it is split, and there are still people out there backing Chris Davies, and we all know who they are, the fact that they're still backing him, they almost side towards that point you're making, Josh, is that you need to give him time and you need to believe in this whole project situation. But what I'm frustrated with, and I know a lot of Blues fans out there are frustrated with, is exactly what Jamie has just said, which is the tactical craziness, fairground ride that is Chris Davies on the sideline, and also, the style of football. is just really poor. It's really slow. It's I wanted to sit Chris Davies down and get him to watch Southampton against Arsenal in the FA Cup. I hope he watched it at home and just open his eyes with matchsticks like this, just to force him to watch that game and force him to watch Southampton and the way they attacked Arsenal and the way they played football on the front foot. Yes, they passed it around the back and they had to get out and beat the press. But my God, was it quicker? Was it snappier? Did everybody know their role? Did everybody know their responsibility? Did they play in triangles? Did they cover each other and know, that kind of total football? So somebody moves into a position and somebody covers them straight away. Everybody knew their positions and knew what to do in that game, and they rightfully beat an Arsenal team that was very good. There was a couple of big players missing, like Saka and Rice, but my God, they beat a really good Arsenal team that's about to apparently win the Premier League. And you're asking Blues fans of we should be top six, we should be top two. Lads, we are so far away from Southampton. It is we're on a different planet.
Yeah.
We're with that fucking rocket that's flying around the moon. That's how far away we are right now from Southampton. And they are sixth or fifth now, or sixth. I think they jumped above Wrexham because they bent them over backwards last night, which was quite funny. And beat them 5-1. But we are so far away from that, and that is why for me he has to go. And if it is in the summer, then do so. But if there is a world where he keeps his job, I think you are going to see a massive effect on the revenue, on the season ticket sales and resales. And all the food and beverage, the merchandise. We've just seen today, lads, that the accounts have been published that there's a £34 million loss, which is slightly head scratching and a little bit serious and a little bit worrying, I think, because I think we all expected to, in this season now they've been in charge for over 2 years to start making money, I think, and we've lost a fair bit of money here, and I don't want us to go back down towards those dark days where we kept losing millions and millions of pounds every year. So if we keep a manager like this in charge, it could get worse. I don't know what you boys think of that, but Josh, what do you think about this news today about the 34 million loss?
I think there's more to it than just a 34 million loss. I know me and Joe talked about it just before we come on that if you actually look at our player revenue, we're on like a 35 million pound increase or something like that. Mm-hmm. There's parts of the business where we've took a massive loss, but that's them investing, that's them spending the money to give the fan experience what they're wanting, and getting the right groundsmen in to make sure that our pitch is top quality with the men's and the women's team playing on it constantly, upgrading all of our hospitality venues, so we've got that quality to bring in the higher clientele. Mm-hmm. But I think when you look at other parts of the record where the books are balancing out or we're doing really well in certain parts, there was times back under the Kumars and the Gold and Sullivan and the Chinese where, like you said, we were losing millions a year, but we were losing millions a year in every department. Mm-hmm. There's departments in this that have come out where we're absolutely flying with making a lot of revenue. Mm-hmm. There's just the other departments that need to work it out, and I think Wagner knows business. He knows what he's doing. He's not stupid. He's a very, very smart man. Mm-hmm. Touch wood, obviously hope that he's recovering well, and hopefully we get to see him back. I'd like to say before the end of the season, but realistically, I'd like to see him their first game of next season to see what we're going to start the season of. But I think he knows what he's doing. I think he knows where he's lost money and where that can be increased. Maybe he's lost money this year, knowing that next year those bits we've lost money in are going to increase and we're going to make a lot of money from them. Mm-hmm. But just quickly touched on the point you said about Southampton and how they're playing. If you look at 6th, 7th, 9th and 10th right now, at Christmas, they were in the bottom 6. Mm-hmm. And they're now all comfortably above us because they've all changed managers. They've all changed their style of play. They've all changed and adapted to what they needed to do. Mm-hmm. We haven't. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think with the loss of 34 million, I don't think it's too serious to look into. I think if we get to the end of next year and we've had a 15, 20 million loss again, then I'd start being worried. But I think for the first year when PFS comes into a situation, I think looking at it, It's them investing in the club and investing in the right places. We're going to take a loss to be able to make the profits. You got to think how much money this new stadium they're spending out up front to pay for this. That's not coming out of their own pocket. That's got to come out of the club. They're going to take a lot of losses to then long term make a ton of money. I know the one person I know he's no longer at Tottenham, but Daniel Levy was one that massively did it. Loss after loss after loss. Next year, catapulted loss after loss after loss, and they didn't have to buy millions of players, but he kept Tottenham in that point of financially they were fine, and look where they ended up, and ultimately he leaves and look where they are now. But I know I trust Wagner, I trust the board, trust Knighthead. I think it's a loss in the right way, if you can put it that way.
No, I completely kind of I echo what you're saying, because in terms of, it looks like a scary figure, doesn't it? When you see it on paper, it looks like a scary figure, a bit of scaremongering. You know, people publish this and you get worried, and I might look at it and get worried. Josh is diving into it a bit deeper, and he's probably correct that, you know, these businessmen know how to run a business. I don't know how to run Birmingham City like Wagner does, or like Knighthead do. So we do have to trust that. The only thing I'll say is that, yes, they're investing money in the infrastructure. Yes, they're investing money in the hospitality. Yes, they're investing money in the pitch and the match day experience and the club shop and everything that we're seeing, right? And into players, obviously, as well. But all of that falls away when the football is shit. That's the biggest thing I'll say to you, because I'm telling you now, if you've got Chris Davies in charge still next season, if the football is the same style, you'll stop selling out your hospitality packages. You'll stop selling as many season tickets. You'll stop selling as many shirts, replica shirts in the club shop. You won't have as many people there to buy food and beverages every week, because the match day experience will fall back to how it used to be, where people want to rock up 20 minutes before they need to go through the turnstile, because they start to think, well, we know what we're not excited to go anymore, because this last season and the start of this season, people wanted to get there 3 hours early to soak it all up, because they were excited about what football they were going to see, maybe, and the results they were going to see. So for me, if you stick with that, you're going to see that, I've said before, you're going to see that trend going downwards, and then it becomes a bit worrying that all that money's been invested and you're actually starting to see it drop away. They have to. You're bang on with, and I want to say that as well, that your Southamptons and your Norwiches, they've all made changes to these European managers, and Middlesbrough, another European manager. I mean, they're out there, aren't they? These managers are out there. There are still people that want to back Chris Davies that just don't think there's any other manager out there that could do a job. But you can see it. It's there. They're not on massive budgets, some of these teams. Millwall being up there, I think they might have even made a loss. I can't remember correctly, but their players are on so much less money than ours are. They're doing it.
Second.
And I think Hull had a transfer embargo. Am I right? Hull had a transfer embargo and they are fifth. It is embarrassing. This season, it is a failure. It is, and it can't be looked at as anything else. And I really, really want to stress and say that Knightheads need to, while they're doing amazing things off the pitch, I've said it before, they need to maybe stop being so stubborn in the way they want to play football, because they're very data-driven and they still think that this is going to be the way we go. And if the murmurs are true and they were to keep him in charge because they are just determined to get promoted by this football, you're going to see a lot of the fans staying at home. And that's what the saddest part about it is.
I said at the beginning of the season, I watched Ipswich game on TV, and then it was the second home game of the season. I can't remember a time when I've watched the opening games of Birmingham City season on TV and seen as many Birmingham City shirts as I had in the Tilton and in the Cop. Just in general, people wearing them. And then you look back.
I had one on.
Yeah, so many people, but even like the retro shirts, like you look at the Tilton, and before Knighthead come in, people had their black coats on or plain t-shirts or random. There was no support in Birmingham City. People didn't want to buy it. Where you look at the first couple of games of our season, and people have got the old retro kits on. They've got the old. People are bringing out their 2011 Carling Cup winner shirts, and people bringing out the new shirt, and the queues just to go and buy the top, selling out as quick as they were. And you sit there going, this is what we need. That's where your revenue comes in. People are supporting Birmingham City. It's everywhere you see. And then I watched the game the other day back on TV against Blackburn. And again, it was black jumpers, black t-shirts, white t-shirts, people pink top. People weren't supporting the Blues. They were just their normal clothes. Like, we're just going down to football. Where 6 months ago they were, I got to make sure I got my shirt on, I've got my colours on, and I'm
Yeah,
behind the boys and I'm singing and I'm shouting. That you've lost all that
yeah.
by keeping Davies as long as you have. Like you said, if he's still here in September, August when the season starts, you're going to lose 5,000-6,000 season ticket holders, if not more. You're
Mhm.
going to lose them shirt sales. People won't want to buy burger and drinks at the ground, which means then the quality will go down. And then when people are buying them, they're getting the 10-15 minute wait again, like they are.
Mhm.
They've done so much right, but that one negative is going to make such an impact on the club. They have to
Mhm.
get that right. And let's be honest, I think it's a bit that they struggle with when it comes to English football.
Mhm.
NFL, you say it's like you look at that, that's all AI data driven. That's all
Mhm.
simple things. They don't just sack a coach because he's playing awful. They have to look at a wider picture.
Mhm.
I think they need to stop looking at that situation and look at how English football happens. And that
Mhm.
is if your manager is not getting the results or you're not where you want to be, you get rid, you bring in someone new, and you have a change. They fucked up massively with the Rooney situation. They spent their time, they got Chris Davies. I wouldn't ask
Mhm.
for a better guy to get us out of League One. What he did last season, yes, as Jay said, you spent 30-40 million. You had the players to do it, but it's not just that. It was bringing the fans in together, doing it for the fans. The cup final, even though that was an absolute shambles, but the cup final and everything as a one last season with Chris Davis coming in was perfect.
Mhm.
This season, Dave started off, it was okay. We were in the blah, blah, blah. Then we had that dip, and it was like, here we go again. Then it's, no. And then it's just gone downhill. And that's the point where they need to go, right, let's not risk it anymore. Cut it here,
Yeah.
cut it a day, bring in someone new, let's go again and try restart. But I said I'd give him the end of the season just so he's got a full season. It might help us get rid of him a little bit better. More clubs in that lower side. Maybe someone that wants to be pushing in the League One, Sheffield Wednesday might even come in for him. You look
Mhm.
at that situation, and then you've got to look at going and getting someone who's got experience of this, or like you've said, some of these European managers that are young that are coming through, the style of play they've got would suit our players to an absolute T.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. And before I move on onto the Wrexham game, and I'll throw it over to Jamie in a sec. I will. I think that the point about the NFL is a really, really good point because it's all about the match day experience, isn't it? And the NFL have got it bang on. I've been to NFL. I've been to things in America, but I've been to NFL Pro Bowls and stuff like that. And I've been to an NFL game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and the way that they do it is really, really good. But what happens on the green rectangle has to match it, and it doesn't mean anything, does it? Because no one's going to be buying your £10 posh meat and chips outside the Cop if they're not there because they don't want to be there because they'd rather watch it on Sky because they can't be asked to spend all the money, which is everything's getting more expensive. We've said this before as
Yeah.
well. No one's got the money anymore, and football's one of the first things to go. So if the football is shit on the pitch, which right now, I'm sorry, barring half of Ipswich, it's very poor. Um, it's the fans are your core, and to get them on side, the football needs to be good. And saying that no one's wearing the shirt anymore, it's almost people are embarrassed to do that at the moment because they just feel like we're a bit of a laughing stock. We all thought
100%.
we had smoke blown up our ass and thought we were going to do really well this season. We've gone big guns on social media, and now we've ended up with egg on our face. So when you walk out the door, you don't want to put your Blues top on with your undefeated logo on it because undefeated's the last thing that we are. All we are at the moment is defeated. So that's the biggest part about it is that the football needs to be better. And when the football's good, everything falls into place around it. It's as simple as that. But you have to start with the football. And going on to, moving on to football, we've got Sunday. I'm going to be down there. Jamie, I'm sure you'll be down there. What do you think about
I'm
Sunday?
actually not. Jordan's got my ticket.
Oh, well, I'll see Jordan down there, and he'll be back from his holiday because Jordan is away this week. He's on his holes and he's enjoying Cornwall. So big shout out to him when he watches this. We'll get him back next week. So yeah, Wrexham. What do you think, Jamie? What do you think we need to do to get a result? How do you think we're going to play? How do you think he's going to set up? What's our random starting 11 going to be this week? Yeah, what do you think?
So I'm just going to echo 2 points first because they've just come into my head. One, managers. What's Gary O'Neill up to? Because I wouldn't say no to Gary O'Neill right now. I think
I've
he's the
said
man.
this. Yeah.
I think, and I think about more Gary O'Neill, very good, very talented manager. Two, and this is important, driving. So me and the missus were driving to my mother's on Monday because obviously we both got a day off together. I haven't seen my mum for a bit, my girlfriend, so I took her down. Obviously, I said, can I have the radio on? Yeah, fine. Had the Blues game on. We're 1-0 up, celebrated. Went 2-1 down. I didn't even flinch. Jasmine looked at me and went, are you all right, Jay? And I was like, yeah, I was numb because it's been that fucking, like, it's expected. I was
Mhm.
like, well, it ain't going to last, is it? Like, as
Yeah.
soon as I won the
That's
up, I
what I
went, we'll
thought.
concede.
That's what I
Like,
thought. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I was numb. I wasn't angry, wasn't upset. I just literally went, here's what it is.
Yeah.
Shit. I think I literally turned around and just openly said, get him out of my fucking club now. I think that's all I
Mhm.
said. And I just went, ugh. Like,
Yeah.
in terms of Wrexham at home, I'd like to first of all thank my wonderful girlfriend for booking me and a weekend away in Derby on the one game that I'd really want to go to, the Hollywood Derby. Thanks, babe. Love you. Um, Secondly, yeah, great at it. Listen,
You
it's
know,
fine.
you know.
It's partners at it. What we do. Um, I genuinely don't know what the 11's going to be, but I'm hopeful that after that Ipswich performance, he does something around about that.
Uh-huh.
Maybe, just maybe, you might give Tommy Doyle a game
Yeah,
because
next to
I
Peg.
still, and the people don't like him. Yeah, start Solis. I think Solis is a very, very good footballer at 21, and he's one. If we are going to permanently sign him, he's got to start every game coming to the end of the season now and show us the excitement that he's going to give us next year. So I love that man. What do you want me to try and give you what I think his 11's going to be?
Go for it.
Beadle. I'm praying to God that Wagner's back so I can have Beadle, Laird, Neumann, Clara, and Wagner.
Hmm.
Just change it up. Change it up, Chris. Give me Solis and Doyle in the middle. Give me Solis and Doyle in the middle of the fucking park. Give me Prisk up front and give me the three behind him. You know, I'm torn between Osman and Gray because Gray was on fire earlier in the season and he's not looked the same since. But I'm willing to let Gray off for Monday's performance because even the commentary turned around and said Gray did really well for both goals that they scored. He tracked back and tried to make a tackle, but apparently Panzo was trying to win fucking corner kicks off wingers, and that's why we concede. Brilliant. Um, Gray, I'd start Gray. You've got to start Vincente after scoring, and you've got to give Stanfield. Stanfield needs a goal more than anything. He needs it, and we want it for him so badly. Like
Yeah.
this kid, like my biggest fear is that if Davies stays next year, Dux is already on about going, and a lot of these players aren't happy. Keshi's openly said that the players aren't happy. Like
Mm.
Mark Leonard's gone out on loan. He weren't happy. Like a lot of our squad will capitulate. Do you think Gardner Hickman's going to come back and want to fucking play for us? Of course he's not. Like
No.
there's so many people that are going to come back or have a mid-season, pre-season, have a little holiday away, and then as shit as it is to say, lads, if someone like Wrexham comes in for them, who's probably going to finish seventh or eighth or even sixth, and
Hmm.
might miss out, might go up they might just go, you know what? Why not? Fuck it.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
right now, we're in a dangerous point where there are so many teams that look a bit more appealing to us, and it's because they've heard that this tactical man management where you can't do this, you are told not to do this. That is not what footballers want to be free. They want to play football, they want to have fun. That's ultimately
Hmm.
why they became a football. It's their passion. If you're driving the passion, if you're making football feel like a job to someone on a football pitch and not just do what's natural and have fun, of course we're not going to get results. Of course we're not going to feel it. It's fucking dreadful to watch.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
my fear is that I'm going to come into next season as a season ticket holder and have to try and work out what a new starting 11 is going to be because we've sold
Mhm.
15 players and now signed 12. Like, because that's
So
ultimately what could happen is we're going to lose loads of fucking people. In terms of Wrexham, probably going to get a 2-2.
yeah, I was gonna say after all that, it's gonna go really well on Sunday. And I think, Josh has mentioned what he thinks the score is gonna be. Before I pass over to him, I'll just say what I think about it. I'm gonna be down there. If you see me, come and say hello, please do. We know we're all down. All the Born to be Blues guys will be down there, I think, this weekend, and we'd love to speak to you. Come and share your opinions with us. We love that, especially in the comment section on here as well. Um, I think Wrexham on Sunday, they're going to be pissed off they lost 5-1 to Southampton. They're going to be, they'll have a bee in their bonnet about that. So they're going to want to prove themselves. They've got probably a lot of fans, probably 2,000 fans coming, if not more. They're going to make a lot of noise. And I don't think we will, because we don't at the moment, especially if we go a goal down. It's very different to the Wrexham game we played at home last season when we beat them 3-1. When we went a goal down very early on in that game, we sang Keep Right On, as loud as I think I've ever heard it. It really was. It was fantastic, the atmosphere. As soon as we went a goal down, we got behind the boys. This season, if we go a goal down on Sunday, it's just going to turn toxic again, isn't it? It's not going to be the same. We're not going to get behind them. I'll try, but we know what the general consensus is going to be if we go a goal down. So I'm worried about that. And I know Josh is as well. But I think we can win the game. I think we can win the game, and it's a chance for everybody to step up. I'm missing Patrick Roberts. I just want the guy to come back and get back in that team and start playing well again, because he's such a good, experienced Championship player. The poor bastard has been dropped to the bench so often since he signed, and he's not really done much wrong, to be honest. Vicente hasn't been playing. He came in obviously against Ipswich and played really well for when he was there. Dimmy is really stressing me out at the moment, because he's meant to be a Blues fan and wear his heart on his sleeve with it, and he doesn't seem to show enough care for me at the moment, and he slows the play right down. He's a Davies dream at the moment, because he just slows everything down and wants to beat a man with a quick step, but he's not helping the football. So I think Osman, as Jordan I think has pointed out before, Osman gets you forward. Look at the setup for the second goal that got disallowed. He gets you forward, he gets you in behind. Sometimes it's like he's on ice and he's skating around, but at least the guy is trying to get forward, which is what we want. So I think Osman and Vicente for me starting to be good. If not Vicente, get Roberts back in there. Get Roberts cutting inside and having a shot. I just miss that. I miss Patrick Roberts from 3 or 4 months ago. I really do. And there's such a good player in there. I think Stano and Priss need to start again. Dux can sit on the bench. He can sit in the pond. I don't really give a shit. But he's doing my head in at the moment, because he is so lazy. He's so. Some call him vertically challenged, but I call him lazy as fuck, basically. And I want to see that as kind of a starting forward five. Josh, you think we're going to lose 3 or 4-0? So do you want to elaborate on that?
It's always fun, isn't it, when you got. I don't want us to lose 3 or 4-0. Obviously, no one wants to lose, but I think if they score first, Wrexham will walk away with it. They'll have the momentum behind them. I don't want to put it in the way of putting it, but like Jay said, the Hollywood Derby, as everyone calls it, I think that's all that Wagner and Brady have took from it. Like, you look at all the hype around the game, it's the game that Brady's always at, the game that Wagner always likes to go to. He went away. I think there's too much publicity that the club like around the match, rather than it just being, these are a team from North Wales that we need to beat to get into the top 6, which is what they should be looking at, rather than, let's make a derby. We're not Coventry City. We don't want derbies with every team in the country and try and force them. But I think, I didn't know they lost 5-1 last night. That was quite music to my ears, you telling me that. So maybe I might go 2-1 loss instead of a 4-0. But I voice what you just said. I think personally, like you said, Beadle, Laird, Neumann, Clara, Wagner. It's your back 5.
Yeah.
I won't say Pake, because I don't want Jamie to screw at me after. I think you go John Solis and Doyle. I think you go Vincente on the right, Stano in the cam, Prescott front, and I think you go Patrick Roberts on that left. Because him and Vincente, and the one thing that I noticed this about Vincente the other day, the way he took his finish, they're very good with both feet.
Yeah.
They're quite quick, they're skillful, and they're good on both sides. Now, when we played Blackburn, and this is the one thing that I ranted at Jay about when we were there, every time Roberts got the ball, because Bright Asai Samuel was useless, or Watta was crap, every time he was running into the middle, down to the left-hand side, and trying to run it down that way, because he knew he had a fullback that was going to overtake and do it. If you've got Patrick Roberts on that left with Laird behind him, because Wagner's not fit or something. I think Patrick Roberts is going to play his best football because he's going to utilise Laird doing that overlap. He can cut in and he can finish. Now, I don't know if anyone's ever counted how many times Dimmy Gray's cut in and tried to shoot and nearly put it out for a throw in this season. I'd rather watch Patrick Roberts try and do it and have an understanding as why that's happened because he's not that fit than Gray, who's just trying to relive his Everton and Man City days with that goal he scored against them. It ain't going to happen. So I think Roberts on that left, and then you utilise Gray can play left or right. We've known this from when he was younger. That's where you make your substitutions later on when you still need that attacking threat. Is you bring off Patrick Roberts for Osman, you bring off Vincente for Gray, like for like. Apart from your left winger this time is just going to run, your right winger is going to cut in, and you play this different style. Like you said, Dutch can go sit in the pond. Not really fussed. I'd rather see Kyogo on the bench, if I'm honest, than Dutch. I'd rather see Fujimoto on the pitch at some point and actually get some game time. Jay Liverner. I'd rather see Paik and Iwata drop from the team completely. I think there's so much. Don't get me wrong, I think they're good players. But I think Davies has put so much pressure on them to play all the time, 90 minutes every game, and go away internationally, that both of them have got to the point now they're just too tired. And Pake's got to start thinking about the World Cup, because let's be honest, he's probably one of our only players who's going to be going to the World Cup. So he's got to look at that situation of, I've got a World Cup to focus on in 2 months, 3 months' time. I need to make sure that I'm not getting myself injured, I'm not out for a long time. Perhaps that's why he come off at half-time. I'd like to stick with Jamie's reason that he was just dog crap. And that's why he was brought off. But John Solis and Doyle in that middle, and this is where I'd have liked us to have kept Leonard, maybe even Alfie Chang, who could have come on, got the ball, kept it together, and just driven with it. We've lost so many players that, especially young players. Someone like George Hall, I think, would be great in this team right now. Someone who gets the ball, he's strong, and he can run forward. And that's all he ever did, but was never given the time to do it. Even last season in League One, he was never given the time. Went on loan to Walsall and got into the playoff final with them and pushed and pushed and pushed. He's doing quite well at Port Vale now. So he's got quite a few goals and he's one of their key players attacking. So we're not doing well with these players at the moment. And I think there needs to be a big change. We looked at Ipswich. Realistically, if I'm not changing anything, I'd play the Ipswich 11 and just let them go at it. They've had 7 days to 6 days to recover. They're going to be fresh. The start of 11, maybe minus Paik, put Doyle in. I think you just go with that. Don't change it too much. Like we said, we want the consistency of having a same team every week. Start it now. Spend the last 6 games of the season with the same 11. Maybe you change one player every game or every now and then. If, like, for example, Paik had a bad game, you bring Doyle in. If then, say, Vincente has a bad game, you maybe bring in Roberts on that side. But I think my change would be Brighter Side Samuel over Paik. I'd rather Paik start and Laird on the right and Wagner on the left and deal with Paik in the middle. But I think he's got to find a team that whatever he plays on Sunday is his team for the remainder of the season and just try and push with it.
Yeah. It's a tactical lottery, isn't it, at the moment? You don't know what you're going to get. And I think we talk about how many days they get to rest and how many days they get to refresh and stuff like that. But the amount of international breaks we've had this season where they've had 2 weeks to sort themselves out and then they come in and give an absolutely dog shit performance. You can't believe it's like they've never met each other. And for 2 weeks, they've just not even met each other once on the training pitch. So we don't know what we're going to get half the time, do we, at the moment? It's quite sad.
I do quickly wonder, you mentioning that about the international breaks. Last season, when we had the international breaks, and obviously we had, I think it was 9 players go away on international duty, Blues admin still put up posts of the players in, training, doing whatever they were doing. This season, all we seem to get focus on is Paik going away with Korea. And I'm like, why is there no social media posts about the players being in, training, doing what they need to be doing, showing the fans, hey, look, we know you're not behind us at the moment, but here are the players actually hard at work training. Here are the players in their shooting drills. Here are the players in their defense. We don't get any of them behind the scenes things anymore. I know they've got this documentary, and I'm hoping it's not, we're losing all that because of that. but there just doesn't seem to be any behind the scenes stuff being shown. It makes me wonder, in them international breaks, are they having the first 4 or 5 days off and doing what they want to do rather than being in and actually training? Because, like you said, they come back from them and it looks like they haven't trained one bit. They haven't learned anything.
Yeah, that's a good point as well, because you're seeing a lot less, aren't you, on that
Yeah.
social media? A lot less of the you'd have loads of shooting drills and passing drills, and there'd be like in training videos for like 10 minutes watching what Davies was doing and shouting and screaming, and yeah, that's a good point. There's a lot less of that. There is a lot less of that, and it makes me concerned as well. But yeah, we're kind of drawing to a bit of a close. We've had a long one. We've had lots of good opinions, lots of good conversation in this one, definitely, and I'm sure there'll be loads of people wanting to to comment. Maybe the Wayne Rooney one, you, Josh. I think you're going to get a few coming for you on that one.
I don't think Wayne Rooney would have brought in the players we've got. I'm going to stand that now. Wayne Rooney would not have brought in the caliber of players we've got. But if you
Okay.
put him in charge of this team right now, I reckon he gets you 6 wins for the rest of the season.
Right, and we'll finish that part there, and you can come at Josh all you want. I bet he's excited. Jamie, we'll just finish the pod, and we brought in a couple of weeks ago a new segment which was laying down the law, and that's an opportunity for you to tell us all what you're thinking about something that's really pissed you off in this last week, or something that's on your mind that you want to talk about, because tonight Mad Max has had a little bit of a rest, and hosting Max, the hostess with the mostess, has come back out for this week, or come out for this week. So, Jamie, laying down the law, what would you like to lay down the law about this week, mate?
I think I laid most of the law down about half an hour ago when I made an absolute whinge fest about everything that's been going on at the minute. But it's just it just bears down to that. I mean, I'm just going to echo everything you say at the minute. It's that fucking green rectangle again, and we just don't seem to know what we're doing on it or how to perform on it. He
Mhm.
needs to stop playing people out of position. Hanzo is not a left back in any way, shape, or form. I do not care if people are saying, but Laird's come back from an injury, so he can't start in 2 games, 2 in 3 days. You can give him the first half. You should have given him the first half because we conceded both goals and it was Panzo's fucking fault. Like you've got
Mm.
to you it there seems to be no sense in his 11. Like I couldn't fathom the 11 that I see half the time. I genuinely get heart palpitations when it comes to quarter to fucking two on a 3 o'clock kickoff, because I'm like, what the fuck am I about to witness here? What 11 am I seeing today? Like how is he shoehorning a Watter into this 11? Then what's he done now? Oh, of course he has. He started him again, has he? That's all that goes through my head. It's
Mm.
I was buzzing to see Phil Neumann started on Monday, because I was like, what has Neumann done wrong? This
Mm.
is this thing. As fans, we have scapegoats, and we've spent a lot of time this year talking about stop scapegoating this person. It's not on. Stop scapegoating. I think Davies is the biggest scapegoat of all of them, because he just scapegoats a fucking football and decided he doesn't like them anymore, and that's how it is. But
Mm.
then we'll turn around the same mental opinion and go, but I really like Thor Williamson, so I'm going to play him for 37 games in League One because I think that's a good idea. Well, you've had a big injury and you've been shit for 6 months. It's okay, but you can play. Like it just there is no sense to his 11. When laying down the law this week is quite simply play players in their fucking position. It makes sense. It's almost like you get the best out of someone when you play them there.
Yeah, that's
Just
fantastic.
think about it.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. I love it. But yeah, thank you for that. That's amazing. It brings us kind of to the end of the pod for this week. Thank you all for watching. And Jamie, thank you for giving me the opportunity to kind of run with it this week. I've really liked it. Josh, amazing having you on, mate. And you definitely, I'm sure, will be
Anytime.
welcome back. I'm sure
I
you'll
don't
be
know after the
welcome.
way Rooney comments.
Yeah, you might get lynched, but
Uh,
we love
listen,
you, and we want you to come back on, because
Just thinking about your engagement, guys. That's what I was thinking about.
listen, we're not that kind of a group. Do you know what I mean? We're not going to kick you out for having an opinion that's different.
no,
Yeah, but
exactly.
it's
And
Wayne
that's
Rooney in
that's
it, so
probably that's probably the best thing we can end on this week, is we're not going to kick you out or mug you off for having an opinion that's different to ours. We welcome anybody watching. We welcome anybody commenting. Please please drop us a subscribe, on the channel, because it's helping us grow, and we're really trying to grow at the moment and get our names out there, and just be a voice for all of you. Be a voice for the fans, the real fans that we praise when it's due and we criticize when it's due. And sadly, lately it's all been criticism, unfortunately. But we will have better days, and the sun will rise again. But from all of us, I think thank you so much, and lads, keep right on.
Here are.